So basically, yes, you know how many neurons they found within the heart? Give me a number. How many nerve cells, like the ones in the brain, they found in the heart? Can somebody guess?
So millions?
Not millions.
Since you mention it sometimes.
It's 40,000. 40,000. But that's a big number still.
That's huge. In the heart alone?
What?
In the heart alone.
In the heart alone, yes. And that's a huge discovery, because people never thought the heart had anything to do with thought. People think the heart is just pumping blood. But to know that the heart has something to do with decision making, they still don't know how it affects decision making, but they know it does affect decision making somehow, but they don't know the details. Now, and then he says, وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ تَرَكَ زِينَةَ الدُّنْيَا. Whoever desires the akhirah, the next life, he would shy away or shun the luxuries of this life. Of course, luxuries that take you away from your duties, or luxuries that occupy so much of your time, so as for you to have shortcomings, some of your duties, those are the ones that are talked about here. But if the luxuries of dunya are within limits and do not really affect your duties towards Allah, actually if they strengthen you, then they're okay. And as long as they're not haram, of course, that all these things apply here. Now, we talked about the hadith of istiqamah. Today is just like a quick review without going into another hadith. We come to the hadith again of قُلْ أَمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. And we talked about istiqamah is very difficult. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Istaqimu wa lan tuhsu." You will not be able to perfectly perform the istiqamah, correct? And that is why in the Quran Allah says, قُلْ إِنَّمَا يُوحَى إِلَيَّ أَنَّمَا إِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ فَاسْتَقِيمُوا إِلَيْهِ وَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ وَوَيْلُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. استقيموا إليه, you have to be on the straight path according to what was prescribed to you by this one God, one creator. But then he followed it by وَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ, showing that your istiqamah will always have deficiencies. So you need to complete the istiqamah with what? Istighfar, correct? No. To correct those mistakes. Because istiqamah of any human being cannot be 100%. So how can we make up for the deficiency? We do istighfar, to mend all these mistakes, correct? And this also is close to the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in which he says, اتق الله حيثما كنت. اتق الله حيثما كنت. This is istiqamah. To fear Allah and regard Allah, keep your duty to Allah, حيثما كنت, wherever you are. This is istiqamah. And then he says, وأتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحوها. Same kind of like the ayah. He says, and when there's a mistake, you perform a good deed to wipe away the evil deed. So the ayah talks about istighfar, and the hadith talks about making up by doing extra good deeds to take away the effect of the evil deed. So they're very much related. And there's two verses in the Quran that call for فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. One of them is in Surah Hud, and we talked about شَيَّبَتْنِي هُودٌ وَأَخَوَاتُهَا. And the other one is in Surah Ash-Shura. Allah says, فَاسْتَقِمْ فَلِذَلِكَ فَادْعُوا وَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Call to this tawheed, or for this reason you call them to Allah, and be steadfast and perseverant in keeping your duties to Allah. And those who follow you, in the first ayah in Surah Hud, you become straight and upright, and also those who follow you. In the verse of Surah Ash-Shura, be upright, and then he says, وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ, and do not follow their desires. Do not follow their desires. وَلَا تَطْغَوْا. Now, in the first ayah in Surah Hud, he says, لَا تَطْغَوْا, do not exceed your limits. In Surah Ash-Shura, he says, do not follow their desires. Do not exceed the limits, so you don't go to the excess, and you don't go to negligence. You keep just on the mid path, which is a straight path. Now, and this is the same meaning of the ayat that say فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا. which means also أقم وجهك للدين, be upright on the deen. Hanifan meaning avoiding any kind of deviation. Avoiding any kind of deviation. This is the same meaning of istiqamah as well. How to do istiqamah? There's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that says, لا يستقيم إيمان عبد حتى يستقيم قلبه ولا يستقيم قلبه حتى يستقيم لسانه. The meaning is that the belief, the iman, cannot be upright and straight and correct unless the heart is also sound. The heart cannot be sound until the person controls their tongue. Everything is connected. The belief, the heart, the mind, the tongue, the actions, they're all connected. And this also responds to the murji'ah, who claim that, it's just a belief. And that many people say, oh no, you don't know how much iman I have in my heart. But you find that they're not keeping their salah. A woman is not keeping her hijab and she's claiming her heart is sound and it has more iman than people who than women who are wearing hijab and keeping their duties to Allah. We can only go by what's apparent. We cannot know what's in the heart. So we can't accept such claims. We can only go by what the person shows of his keeping the duties of Allah apparently and diligently and consistently. And this is how we know that this person has Iman. There's a hadith which is not authentic, but the meaning is authentic, which is إذا رأيتم الرجل يعتاد المساجد فاشهدوا له بالإيمان. When you see somebody, and actually the verse also supports the meaning. I'll tell you the verse, which means the hadith says if you see somebody coming regularly to the masjid, then testify for this person that he has belief in Allah Azza wa Jal. But if you say this hadith, the chain of narration has weakness to it. But look at the ayah, إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخش إلا الله, which means that only those ones, the only people who regularly come to the houses of Allah Azza wa Jal are those who have belief in Allah and the hereafter. So the ayah is sufficient, but the hadith also, I think the meaning is correct, although the chain of narration could be weak. We'll stop here inshallah.